Buongiorno and welcome to Lisa's Italian Kitchen. Well, as many of you know, I am a Sunday dinner lover, but I'm also a lasagna lover, which is why I bring you so many different lasagne. Lasagne, like other pasta dishes, are very different from north to south. We have a variety of different lasagna. I've already made my white lasagna for you with the Besciamella, the fontina cheese, and the prosciutto cotto. Today I'm making my classic lasagna, which everyone loves, and the classic lasagna in Italy, Lasagne al Forno, which means lasagna in the oven. And it's made with our classic ragù in Italy, which is our 3-meat sauce. Grandma Caponigri's 3-meat, best 3-meat sauce in the world. And it's in my cookbook. If you don't want to make it, you at home, you can buy my Lisa's Italian Kitchen 3-meat sauce on my website. So we start with our 3-meat sauce, and then we're going to add a decadent, velvety Besciamella, which I've made for you. Very simple. Don't be intimidated. So one of the most important ingredients in Lasagne al Forno, which is the classic 3-meat lasagna in Italy, is Besciamella. Now, I know I've made my Besciamella sauce for you before, but I'm gonna make it again so that you see it's very, very easy to make, but a quintessential part of this lasagna. So Lasagne al Forno has the 3-meat sauce, Besciamella, and Parmigiano Reggiano. That's all. And of course, the lasagna noodles. People say to me all the time, oh, Besciamella must be so hard to make because it's a cream sauce. Not at all. The key to a good Besciamella is the same as the key to a good risotto. Stir, stir, stir. If you keep stirring, your Besciamella will be smooth and perfect. So let's take a wooden spoon, very important. I have 1 stick of unsalted butter. Very important to use unsalted because we don't want too much salt in your lasagna. And of course, you've salted your meat sauce. So, we don't want any more sauce in here. So we're going to melt this 1 stick of butter. To the 1 stick of butter, I'm probably going to end up making 2 batches of Besciamella, just so you know, for 1 full pan of lasagna, which has 2 pounds of lasagna noodles in it. So for the first batch of the Besciamella, I've got 1 stick of unsalted butter, to which I'm going to add 1 cup of flour. Now, this is the important part. We want to make sure that we stir the flour into the butter so that we don't have any lumps. This is my handy dandy 1 cupper that I keep in my flour bin. I just love it because it's 1 cup. So I'm going to do a flat 1 cup, and I'm just going to add it into the butter gradually. I have my flame on a medium, between medium and low, and then I'm going to put half of that in, and let's stir it in. To this, we're going to add whole milk. Now, some people in northern Italy, for their Besciamella, use cream. I don't really like to do that. It makes it a little too heavy. Most places in Italy just use whole milk. So we're stirring this in, and we want to get see if you just keep stirring, you get the flour bumps out. Now I'm going to add the other half cup of flour. I'm going to stir that in, and then I'm going to quickly add my milk. And the milk is going to make this really smooth and beautiful. Now, if your bechamel, if you let it sit for a minute before you assemble, you see you're getting a nice paste there from the flour and the butter. To this, we're going to add our milk. If after you let your bechamel sit for a little while and maybe you get, it's a little thick, just add a little more milk and stir. And remember, keep it on low to medium. You don't want this too high. And now we're just going to get a smooth, beautiful bechamel. So easy. The key is just stirring, stirring, stirring. So many dishes like this, you know, they might be intimidating in the beginning, but the more you just practice and get it done, they come out beautifully. Okay, and now it's nice and thick, absorbing the milk, but it's very smooth, no bumps. We're gonna add more milk. Keep it on our medium heat, and here we go. So basically I have 1 stick of butter, 1 cup of flour, 2 cups of whole milk. Now you've got all your ingredients in here. You're gonna take the paste, which has formed from the butter and the flour, and just keep stirring it into the milk till it absorbs all the milk. Very important to use a big pan like this where you've got lots of room to stir. And we're gonna just stir this pate or paste in from the flour and the butter, and there you go. You will never have a lasagna in your life like lasagna al forno. Lasagna al forno is, as I said earlier, just the classic 3-meat sauce, which is in my cookbook, and which of course you can also buy online from my Lisa's Italian Sunday Dinner, my 3-meat sauce, if you don't want to make your own 3-meat sauce. It's the 3-meat sauce, Besciamella and Parmigiano Reggiano. It makes a delicious, creamy combination that's so satisfying. And if you go to Italy and you see on the menu, Lasagne al Forno, that means lasagna in the oven, that's what you're going to get. Then of course we have lots of variations as what I've made you before. My white lasagna, which many of you love, with Besciamella and prosciutto cotto. I'll also be making for you my lasagna with Italian sausage and broccolini. Oh, that's a wonderful dish too. There are so many varieties of lasagna in Italy. You know how creative Italian chefs are. Italian home cooks especially. Okay, so look at this beauty. Look at this beautiful bechamel, velvety, delicious. Imagine with your 3-meat sauce what that does on your lasagna noodle. Melts in your mouth. So we've got all of our lumps out, just a few bubbles, but we've got all of our lumps out. I'm gonna get off what's on my wooden spoon. Look at that beautiful bechamel. That's it, that's what you want. Just keep stirring it. Then you're going to take it off the flame. As I said earlier, when you take it off the flame, if it gets a little thicker, don't worry. Just add a little bit more milk and stir, and it'll smooth right out. Okay, so our first batch of bechamel is done. Bechamel is just like risotto, keep stirring. And then Parmigiano Reggiano, that's it. That's our classic lasagna al forno. You've never had a lasagna this creamy and decadent. So, andiamo. We're gonna start with a large, deep lasagna pan, and I'm going to put a layer of my 3-meat sauce on the bottom to coat the lasagna noodles. I've already cooked my lasagna noodles, and of course I have them drying between my cotton dish towels, which is what I always do. It's the perfect way to dry your lasagna noodles. So here they are. We're going to just peel back. Look how simply that is, how easy. Now remember that in Italy, we like to risaltare or show off our delicious lasagna noodles. So we put a good 2 layers of lasagna on each layer. So we're sometimes in the United States, we just use one layer of lasagna noodles. In Italy, we use more noodles than that. We make the lasagna a little thicker. It also makes it heartier, and you taste the deliciousness of the lasagna noodles. I mean, I recommend that you buy a very high quality lasagna noodle. I like De Cecco. There are lots of other Del Verde, lots of other good ones out there. But you see how I'm putting an ample amount of lasagna noodles. I do a double layer. So I've got 2 pounds of lasagna cooked here. And I do a nice ample layer of lasagna noodles so we really taste the deliciousness of the pasta with the meat sauce and the bechamella. Okay, there we go. We have our lasagna noodles. So now I'm going to follow up with another layer of my rich, decadent Grandma Caponegri's 3-meat sauce. As many of you know, when I make my 3-meat sauce, I put my bay leaves and my garlic cloves on toothpicks. And I've already removed them because, you know, not everybody wants to eat the garlic. And of course, we don't eat bay leaves. But you have the flavor in the sauce. It's infused with the garlic and the loro, as we call it, bay leaves in Italian. So there we go. We've got one beautiful layer of the meat sauce. And now, of course, pièce de résistance. Who can resist a creamy, decadent bechamel? I just sort of draw my bechamel on. You don't want as much bechamel sauce as your meat sauce because, you know, this is a rich sauce. But I cover all of the meat sauce, every corner. And this is a decadent, velvety, whole milk, unsalted butter, flour sauce. Again, I do not salt my bechamel when I'm adding it to another sauce because my meat sauce is already salted, peppered, it has all my flavors in it. On top of this bechamel now, what are we gonna do? Real authentic Parmigiano Reggiano. I ground it myself I buy half a wheel or a quarter of a wheel, and then I like to just make it kind of a few chunks in there. And so I have my fresh Parmigiano Reggiano. We're gonna do a nice, look at that, a nice, very ample layer of the Parmigiano Reggiano, which of course is the king of all cheeses. And that's our first layer. Here we go again. So you can imagine how decadent this dish is. So let's go with another layer of lasagna noodles. Here we are on our last layer of lasagna. I've used 2 pounds of De Cecco lasagna. I've made a huge batch, the regular batch that's in my cookbook of my 3-meat sauce with my ground veal, ground pork, and ground beef. I've made a decadent batch of my bechamella, and this is the last layer. I've done my layers of meat sauce, bechamella, Parmigiano Reggiano, and lasagna noodles. So we're going to just finish up the top layer, and on the top, I'm gonna put a little bit of the meat sauce, bechamella, and Parmigiano Reggiano. We're going to bake this, and it's going to come out to a beautiful golden on top from the Parmigiano Reggiano. Inside, we're going to have our layers of the meat sauce and the bechamella for a decadent, velvety dish. Lasagna al Forno is probably the most popular pasta dish in all of Italy, and it's for a reason, kind of the signature national dish, if you will, because we have lots of different variations of lasagna, as I said, and many of which I've made for you and I'll continue making so that you can have a nice repertoire of a variety of lasagna. You know, lasagna is such a wonderful dish to make. You can make it the day ahead, let it sit, it's delicious. Make it for your Sunday dinner or Saturday night dinner. You just pop it in the oven, you're good to go. Nobody doesn't love lasagna. Okay, so here we are. I can't tell you how heavy this is. Look, I'm getting my workout with my lasagna. Oh my goodness. Now we're going to top it with our decadent, fabulous bechamella. Just unsalted butter, flour, and whole milk, and keep stirring. Look at that, no bumps till you get all your bumps out, because it's like risotto. The key is stir, stir, stir. Not a difficult sauce to make. Just you have to be attentive. Look at that deliciousness. Looks like a picture, if I do say so myself. And I just did. And then what do we put on top? The king of all cheeses, Parmigiano Reggiano. This is thoroughly cooked because I've cooked my lasagna noodles for a few minutes less than what's suggested on the package. I cook them for 5 to 6 minutes each. But basically this is cooked, so I'm just going to put it in the oven for 30 minutes. And we're gonna have this bubbly deliciousness. Look at that. As we say in Italian, che bontà, which means what goodness. Off to the oven we go. So after 30 minutes, I've taken this unbelievably gorgeous lasagna al forno out of the oven. I've let it rest about 5 minutes, and now we're going to cut our first piece. So this is 3 meat sauce, bechamel, Parmigiano Reggiano, and lasagna. The classic lasagna al forno from all over Italy. Probably the national signature dish. And this is Italian comfort food at its best. The Besciamella and the Parmigiano on top have formed a beautiful golden crust. And look at that. No water. Look at perfect amount of sauce in your pan. Thick, delectable. Look at those beautiful layers. 3 meat sauce, Besciamella, Parmigiano Reggiano. It doesn't get any better than this. Buon appetito. Tutti a tavola, lasagna lovers. Ciao, ciao.